Welcome, everybody, to yet another goddamn horror podcast. This is one of your hosts. I am Ryan Danley, coming to you from Portland, Oregon, and I am not quitting the podcast this week, guys. This is the
Good.
second time in a row that I'm not quitting the podcast, and in fact, I'm quitting everything else but the podcast. I've decided it's going to
Fair.
be
Perfect.
nonstop podcasting of some sort, whether it's producing the show or things like that. I am literally just not going to, because it's just not worth it to go outside anymore. So I appreciate you guys keeping me on after I've quit the last 175 times I've quit.
So many.
So I appreciate you guys keeping me aboard. And now this is all I do. I won't talk to my friends or my family or anything or
I'm looking
really.
outside right now. It's shit out there. Like you're
Yeah,
fine.
exactly.
Like you're
It's
good.
like, and
Stick
have
around
you
here.
have you been around people? They're
Ugh.
terrible. You know what I mean? Like it's like you can't throw a stone in this town without hitting a shitty person, and I know this because I just threw stones at people, and
And they were
um,
all pissy about it,
they
I'm
were all
Yeah.
sure.
pissy about it. They were like they didn't even see the joke in it. I'm
They were
like,
like, I
God
knew I
damn
was
it.
shitty when I left this morning, but you didn't have to throw stones at me. Like,
Maybe that asshole Elon Musk was right. Comedy is dead. You know what I mean?
oh,
I was
Elon.
just in Medford doing comedy the weekend, and I was staying in a hotel, and everybody kept asking me if this hotel is supposedly haunted, and everybody kept asking me if I had seen any ghosts in it, and I've decided that ghosts just don't fuck with me. You know what I mean? Like they just don't like me. You know why it
They
is?
approach you and they're just like, nah.
You know what it is because I'm sick of their ghost shit. You know what I mean? All their, I'm like, you know what? I'm over it. You know
We've
what I
talked a
mean?
lot of shit about them on this show.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, you know what? I'm just over here. I'm like, you know what I
Like he's
mean?
gonna
Like
haunt us back.
they're like, oh look, we can move things. I'm like, yo, I can too. You know what I mean?
Like,
Like you know what I mean? So like, I'm just not into it. So no, I didn't see any ghosts down there. I was looking, but they hide from me. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Ghosts fear my name. Jonas, how the hell is your part of Brooklyn?
Bushwick
You
is
forgot.
Yeah, I
yeah.
forgot.
It's totally fine. It's totally fine. I
I
forget
almost said
sometimes.
Bed-Stuy, and I
Yeah,
know
yeah. I
It's
think I
close.
said
It is
I think
close.
I said you were in Bed-Stuy today to a friend.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, no,
fine.
close. It is. It's close. Brooklyn's weird. It has so many different neighborhoods that are like right next to each other. So like gain 5 pounds and I would all of a sudden be in East New York. Like it's fucking weird.
right.
But it's fine. It's cold. It's actually been quite like really loud today because I think everybody's coming back from holidays. So they're just like we took all this noise back to wherever the hell we were at, and now we're back and we have to give it all back to New York. So it's just been
Mm.
Yeah,
nonstop
it's
honking
true.
today.
Yesterday, out in Manhattan and shit, it was quieter than usual, and it
Yeah.
was low key. And
Today,
today,
mm-mm.
no, everyone out just being terrible. It was great.
Yeah.
I felt
Everybody's
fine.
rolling
I
their
felt at
windows down,
home
just like,
finally.
yeah,
Yeah.
dude. It
So,
was. It was like people were just rolling their windows down and just yelling "fuck you" at people that weren't even there. They were just like, I had to get it out. I'm sorry. I've been in like Nebraska for the last week. So yeah, no,
um,
it's good.
real quick before we get this show started, I have a question about New York. Is there like a little bit of like a rivalry between parts of town that have elevated subways versus parts of town that are mostly have underground subways? Because you're mostly in the elevated part, right, Jonas?
I am between the elevated part and the non-elevated part. I can
Right,
tell you that the elevated ones, everybody hates them because they are janky. They're insanely loud, like no matter where you are. And if you live anywhere near one, you just want to bomb the whole city. Like it's the fucking worst.
right. Yeah, because I remember like taking them out to Queens and getting them, but I seem to remember one like out in the front of the tiny cupboard in the stand-up spot being
Hmm.
elevated. I don't think most people realize that in New York City that some of the subways, which is I guess they're still called subways, just
Yeah,
trains.
yeah, definitely.
Um,
Trains.
are elevated way above the ground. Like for
Yeah,
whatever
they
reason,
go
part
over the streets.
yeah, they go
Yeah.
over the streets, and I don't think people in the world realize that because the image of a New York City subway is underground, and it
Hmm.
is a lot that way. But specifically like going to Queens and things like that, you end up elevated, and it's actually kind of a nice view of the city when you're cruising through them. It's like it's
I
No, it's
like
great
the
when you
elevated ones because you get to see rooftop graffiti, and
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
that's my favorite
You do
shit.
get a cool look of the city from the ones above ground. And also, this is a side note, none of us drink on the show, but Brian Terrio, my good friend,
Hmm.
he is quite the drinker, and he goes out and has what he calls beer fun, and he goes on one of those elevated subways, and he pees in between the cars. And then he forgets that he's on an elevated subway until he gets back in the subway and somebody goes, I think you just pissed on a bunch of people. And he was
Yeah,
just like, "Oh, I'm so glad I'm not stopping at this stop." Like,
beer fun.
yeah,
That's
he
funny.
does it all the time. He's just
Well,
fucking
speaking of beer, I actually I always associate Chicago with beer, and
yeah.
Chicago for some reason I read a lot of Brendan Kelly's stuff. He's from the Lawrence Arms.
Yep.
Uh, I read a lot of his stuff growing up on the internet, not growing up, but on the internet, and it always seemed like everybody was at bars there, and it always seemed so cool. Before I quit drinking, all I wanted to do was move to Chicago and listen to Lawrence Arms and Alkaline Trio. But turns out our guest today, who is also from Chicago, made a movie that affected me personally so much, and we'll get into that. But that this whole podcast absolutely loved. Marshmallow. We have Daniel DelPurgatorio.
How's it going? Good to be here. You
How
guys
you
are
doing,
talking you
man?
guys are talking about elevated trains. I mean, we're all elevated trains in Chicago
Yeah,
Yeah.
with a
I was
few
gonna say, yeah.
underground. Um, I'm from New York, so it's funny to hear you guys talking about it because like I lived there when you didn't want to tell like people didn't want to say they were going to Brooklyn. You
Oh
know,
right.
yeah.
and now it's like everybody it's completely flipped, but it's funny
100%.
because yeah, it's like where does the train come out and go up, and that's you know where you're at.
Right.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that people always just forget, like, I mean, like, because Brooklyn used to be like Squaresville, you know what I mean? And like, the cool people lived in Manhattan, and like, I think people forget
Yeah.
affordability wins out. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like, at some point, you're like, oh, I can pay 6 grand for an apartment in Manhattan, or I can, like, I mean, like you go to the Dakota, for anybody who doesn't know, that's where John Lennon was shot out in front of, and like I think that thing's like 40, $50,000 a month. You know what I mean to live there, and there are still people like sleeping on the street in front of it, which I'm nothing against houseless people at all. I'm just saying it's not like you're like you know what I mean. So you might as well move to Brooklyn, and you know what I mean. It's not like it's something's going to be worse someplace else. You know what I mean? Like
It's
Save
just
some money.
yeah, and it's all spread. And it's funny because my aunt used to have a restaurant in the Bronx right across from the police station. And it was like her deal was when she worked there, it was the safest spot in the Bronx because, of course, it was all the cops that were eating there. And then at night, people would come and steal the air conditioning unit and all the copper piping, right? And
Yeah.
it's funny because I was talking to my dad about it, and he was like, "Yeah, they tore it down," and he like showed me a picture, and it's like tons of crazy new shit that's like super fancy. I was like, I never in a million years would have expected that, especially in
Nope.
that area. You know, it's crazy.
Not in the Bronx. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, the Bronx is crazy like that. It's also funny. I just went to like my job takes me to different parts of the city pretty much every day. And a couple of days ago, I had to go really deep into Queens, like to an area that I'm not usually at. Like, so usually the farthest that I go out to Queens is like Bay Ridge. But this time I was in like Hollis and Bayside. So like this was like
Wow.
even farther out into Queens, and like I had to take multiple buses to get out there. I was like, where the fuck am I at? Like this doesn't even feel like a place that I've been to in New York. And I'm gonna shout out a place that is out there called Gabby's Pizza. Dude, like one of my friends that lived out there, he was like, "Bro, you gotta go to Gabby's. Like you gotta go to this place. It's in like a fucking strip mall." It was, I would say it's like the third best slice of pizza that I've had in entirety of New York in the 15
Oh,
years that I've lived here. It's insanely good.
that's
So
amazing.
Yeah, so if you're ever out in Bayside, Queens, hit up Gabby's. It rules.
I'm not gonna be there.
I never knew like as I was thinking like the Bronx is such a cool name. Like it has such a like a
A
umph to
band
it.
named themselves after
Yeah,
it.
I
no,
was gonna
no.
say,
So
and they're
Yeah.
amazing.
yeah,
They're
they're
Yeah,
amazing.
amazing.
They're one of my
Uh,
favorites.
yeah, me
and
too.
so
Yeah.
I just looked it up, and it's actually started by, if you guys know this, somebody named bought the area Jonas Bronx, which was Bronck, and over time it became Bronx, and
I never knew.
they really just named it the Bronx River, but it was initially Bronx with a K River, but it transformed into Bronx River, and then they named the borough after the river. So
Huh.
education
Also, the
here.
Bronx. The Bronx has some horror roots. Edgar Allan Poe's cabin's out there.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a historical landmark. They have it like sectioned off and everything. You can go visit it, but like, yeah, they've kept it like exactly the way that it was,
And it's got a
minus like a few
the.
struck. Yeah,
Yeah.
Like that's cool. Like you can't say
Yeah.
that with you can't say the Brooklyn.
Right.
You
Yeah.
sound like
yeah,
a dummy.
Right.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
There's
Just
a town
Bronx.
in Oregon called The Dalles. It's literally The Dalles, and I really like that. Anyways, we should probably talk about horror and stuff like that. But
We
I
should.
do actually. Edgar Allan Poe is horror, and I'd like to say that like he rolled hard because he lived what he had a cabin in the Bronx, and the dude is from Baltimore, like
Right.
and was like beaten to death on the streets of Baltimore,
Poe
and
didn't fuck
like
around.
yeah, I mean
Like,
like that dude like rolled hard. I have the feeling, you know what I mean?
he's
Like
also
not only was he
batshit insane.
not
Like,
only
Yeah.
was he riding that shit, but he was so Danny, like so we're here to talk to you about your we're talking to you about, you know, your life and you're clearly like a cool
Is
guy. And
Danny
like
okay?
Yeah, yeah. It's funny. I was like, oh, he called me Danny. I was like, oh, my screen says Danny.
yeah,
yeah,
Totally
yeah,
yeah,
cool.
sorry,
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
yeah,
Okay. I didn't notice that.
I spent most of my life the other way where it was like everyone called me Danny and then randomly I get called Daniel, mostly by my mom if I was in trouble.
sure.
Yeah.
And this was the opposite reaction, which is funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
So,
totally cool. Totally
yeah,
cool. Yeah.
All
okay,
right,
cool.
cool,
All
cool.
right. I just look down and like generally like anyways. But well, we're homies now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
We go way
we talked
back.
about the
Yeah, we do.
Bronx and we talked about Lawrence Arm. You know what I mean? Now we're all
Yeah.
cool. You know what I mean? So I really think like like before I even saw Marshmallow, I had heard amazing things about it on TikTok of all places because horror talk is a big thing, and people were just like some of the bigger names were like, I don't know, Marshmallow, and that can actually not that can actually work against it for a movie with me because I'm like generally I'm just naturally contrary like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I hear something's great, so it puts it in this place, and like so we are gonna spend some time kissing your ass on this episode, and I'm gonna say you came up with one of the most original movies that I've seen in years, and I think it's like and after I got done watching Marshmallow, and you can even listen to our list episode where we talk about that, I said, well, this is the horror I want. Like this is the horror. This is to me 20 to mid 2020s, 2025, 2020. This is the horror of the time. This is an independent horror film. It's not elevated horror, but it's also not dumb. You know what I mean? Like it's,
Mhm.
and don't get me
Yeah.
wrong, I love a dumb horror movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I
No, but this
also
is one of
love
those ones that gives the audience the benefit of the doubt.
right. I
yeah.
also love Final Destination Bloodlines. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
like I meet horror where it's at. Um so how do you do that? How did you find the pulse of that? What how does somebody create that sort of like vibe?
Yeah, I think what's interesting, so Andy Griskoviak, who wrote Marshmallow, he had so I met our producer Warner a handful of years ago, and we hit it off at a film festival, and we were like, "Hey, we want to work together," and we just kept in touch over the years. And he had contacted me. He goes, "Hey, I have a Danny film. Like, I'm gonna send you a script. Take a look. Let me know what you think." I read it, and I like immediately connected with it for two reasons. One, the first half of it was very relevant to me in terms of growing up and just how awkward and weird it is trying to find yourself in the world as a kid, especially, you know, as like a punk rock kid, you know, as I was growing up. Like it was not like it is today, right? Back in the day, you like sci-fi and horror and punk rock and roll, like you were kind of the outcast, right? There was
Right.
less of us, and it wasn't a cool thing. So like I really connected to the film for that reason. And then the second half, I connected as a father. And I loved the idea of how do we sort of take those two things and stitch them together. And so yeah, so I got to meet Andy. At the start of it, and I kind of gave him my take of his scripts, and we went back and forth and talked about it, and uh, we kind of just like connected, right? Like we both were hitting from different, areas. We both like were relating on different ways, and yeah, just it jumped in. And I think the biggest thing for us was like, for me, especially with an independent film, it was cool because we had the opportunity to um, take a swing and just do something different. And we knew that it was going to go, people are going to like it, people are not going to like it, but that's the fun about independent filmmaking is the opportunity to just say, hey, we're going to make something that we think is fucking cool, that we enjoy. And if we find people along the way, awesome. If people don't like it, they watched it and they reacted for one reason or another. And that's the exciting thing about fucking art in general. You know what I mean?
100%. Yep.
Yeah. So fortunately, Warner and Todd, our producers, were fucking amazing. They took a big chance and they said, "Hey, do what you guys do," and they let us fucking do our thing, which was really fun. Yeah,
That's
we didn't want to like it. Just there was no reason to spoon feed anything. We wanted to
mhm.
take every familiar trope and explain why they're tropes in a unique way, right? So every stereotype and every trope that we put in the movie was there for a very specific reason that is told throughout the back half. So we thought it was a fun sort of play.
For anybody who hasn't seen it, give like a quick kind of spoiler-free synopsis. I would have trouble, I would have a difficult time kind of explaining the film because
Yeah,
there's a lot going on. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
it's like you could explain it as one thing and then it's going to be kind of different. So how would you explain it? Like,
Yeah, I would say it's about Morgan, a sort of timid, introverted 12-year-old, and he gets sent to summer camp to sort of help him find himself. His parents send him along to help him sort of find himself and to hopefully come out of his shell. And along the way, as every kid, he gets bullied. He has people that he doesn't connect with, and then also meets a little ragtag group of kids, and they hear about a campfire story because we always hear about campfire stories at summer camp.
mhm.
And he's able to relate to it in a way that no one around him understands. And then the film goes from there.
And so what happened with me when I sat down to watch this, I had also heard good things from people I trust, but not many because not a lot of people had seen it, and a lot of
Yeah.
people were looking for it for a long time. It's now on Shutter, so you can go watch it, and that's fucking spectacular. But um, it was you. I've seen a lot of horror, and it's not even horror, but camp movies
Yeah.
in general since Meatballs probably, and Friday the 13th. Like I've never seen a camp set up the way like I had a visceral nostalgic reaction to this camp, the whole camp thing, the just kids walking by doing things, just the way it looked. I specifically remember like there's a scene when they're all four of the ragtag group are running up around a bend up a hill, and
Yeah.
I was like, that's my camp. For like,
Yeah.
so I went to camp for almost like 10 years. I was a camper and then I was a counselor. I learned a lot at camp about myself, and that's where I found punk rock, or at least no effects.
Yeah.
I was listening to Primus and somebody was
Yeah.
like, check out no effects, and I was like, oh, I this is amazing. I made a ton of friends. I don't know any of them. So many things happened to me at camp that like,
Yeah.
and so to see a camp that on screen that reminded me so much of my camp was so cool, and
Yeah.
it locked me right in. And then it just kept getting like more like camp until there's
It's
kind of
not.
a
Yeah.
until it's
Until
definitely
something
not.
happens.
Yeah,
But
that's amazing to hear because I think that camp for a lot of kids, like you have half of the group that wants to go and half of the group that doesn't want to go, and there's a lot of tons of situations that happen in both those sides, right? And how they sort of weave. And I think that that's what's exciting. And it's like, with the kids that were in the film, like we did all the casting, and before everybody like jumped in, like we all met together and they all just like hit it off. And so when we all got to the camp, it was actually like going to camp. So they were close with each other, but kind of. And then like as we were shooting, they got closer. And so what you see, like we primarily shot in order for the most part, you see relationships growing between them naturally.
Hmm.
And those kids, like we were there for 3 weeks, and those kids, like that was summer camp for them. It was summer camp for me.
Sure.
And so it was cool that a lot of the stuff, like how they're talking and saying things and what they're doing is like, hey, we're away from our parents and I could fucking curse and I could do this
Yeah.
shit and I could
that's
look
one
at like
of
dirty magazines. Like this is what kids do and why they like it, right? And I think it was important to sort of capture that, not direct it. You know what I mean?
Sure.
yeah, yeah, definitely. And what you said about them swearing and stuff, I literally thought about this when I was like, yo, that like when you get to see a kid swear like for a real reason for the first time, like they're
Yeah.
actually like it's just a guttural, they're not like trying to get away with it.
Yeah.
Which in
Yeah.
the first part you're like, oh, this is fun. They're trying to get away with stuff. But then like when they let out like a what the fuck, and it's not like to try to get anybody's attention, it's just their inner
Yeah.
monologue coming out finally. It's one of the best things to watch.
It's so great. Yeah. Yeah.
The
Insane. Like,
I work with
I was just
kids
gonna say
too,
like
so I get to sorry, but yeah,
no, no,
like
I wanted to piggyback on what Graham said because I grew up in camp too. I grew up in going to summer and winter camp,
oh, wow.
and I'm just like kind of parroting what he's saying because honestly, I hadn't really heard Graham say this before, but it's very true that like the way that you see the camp in this is a little bit different than like you would see in like Black Phone 2
Yeah.
or like Friday the 13th or like any of these other ones where you have just like a cabin and then you have the woods and then you're just like, well, where the fuck is everything else? Like that's
Yeah.
not really summer camp. That doesn't feel like summer camp. Whereas this, the different buildings felt like very organic and very
Yeah.
like
yeah,
a summer camp. Like the actual cabins themselves didn't seem like it was just some manufactured bullshit. Like it felt
Yeah.
like real camp. And you guys filmed this in what, Kentucky?
Kentucky. Yeah.
Was
Yeah.
it filmed in a camp or was it something that you guys built?
No, it was an actual camp but it wasn't operational. So because we were going to start shooting in summertime, it was most places were going to start their camp up when we were
Mm,
going to shoot. So obviously we couldn't like they would make a shit ton more money like rent
Sure.
having
yeah.
campers rather than an
Right.
independent movie. And somebody mentioned to us, they're like, "Oh, you should check this camp out in Kentucky." They sent some photos. I'm like, "Oh wow, this is awesome." We went down there, and right when we pulled up, like I pulled up. Just like you see the car in the movie, I pulled
Mm,
up and I was like, "Oh, this is it!" Like I know, I just got the vibe. I felt it. And the cool thing was like, the only thing that was operational, really operational, was like the mess hall because people would rent that for like weddings and stuff like that.
mm.
Everything else, there was all the cabins and there was bathrooms, old bathroom, all this stuff, but none of it worked. So we had to like go in and do plumbing and electrical and clean and paint and like rebuild stuff to kind of get it back up to like a usable,
Sure,
state.
yeah.
But it was a beautiful space. Like it was great trails and hiking and yeah, it was fucking really cool.
yeah, it
Some of the stuff
like
like the stuff that you did, like even just the shots that were in the woods, like
Yeah,
that was the other thing that I like the last thing I really want to point out on this because this isn't a spoiler because on the cover of the movie you see if there's a slasher.
yeah,
But like the way that you guys filmed that like the person in the woods, like the lighting and stuff like that,
yeah,
also was something that I don't know whose background this came from, but it looked extremely organic. And like
yeah,
it was actually not like sometimes you'll see it in an independent movie where it's very clearly a backlight behind
Yeah.
somebody, and you've got like almost like the light sprays that go through the rays of light go through and
Yeah.
stuff. It's just like cool, they've got a lighting rig behind them, like whatever.
Yeah.
This didn't feel like that. This felt like a dude walking through the woods with like that like dusk misty lighting in it. So
Yeah.
like
It
everything
was
about it
perfect.
felt super real. So
Yeah.
like whoever's idea that was, or whoever pulled that off, whether it was you or somebody else, fucking just chef's kiss on that because it really looked real. It didn't look
Yeah.
like as much like a movie.
Yeah, it's awesome. Like Philippe, who is our DP, he's amazing. And early on, before we even went to the location, like, I pulled a bunch of references of stuff that I liked, stills, and just like, this is kind of like the idea of what I want to do. And, I tend to want to lean more like natural lighting with washed out colors. And, like, I don't
Mhm.
want to like overlight it, overproduce it. That's just what I like personally. And we got there and Philippe started doing some tests and playing around. And I was like, dude, you fucking nailed it. He like,
Yeah.
and like going like, more than half of this movie, takes place at night. Right. And
Mhm.
so we have kids running around doing stunts at night in the woods. Like that's like a pain in the ass when you look at it on paper. Right. Lighting a forest, for an independent movie is insane. But Flea, he was able to like really set it up in a way that everything felt very natural. And the cool thing was like we were able to like once we had all of our spots where all the like main action, like we pre-lit everything and kind of had it living there so it felt kind of natural, right? It didn't feel like, like staged lighting. We were lucky before we shot, we were able to go out there and I like took the script and I read on page one and I walked from spot to spot and we had to slightly alter things in the narrative based on like what was except like what we had access to. So I was like, okay, here we're here in the script we're here, and then the next scene we're here, and then we go here. This doesn't make sense. Maybe let's make this location in the script this, and that way we were kind of like walking through and weaving just to make sure that people understood like the lay of the land and it made sense for the story, which I think is always good. You like find your story when you write a script. And then you find your story when you get your location and fine tune the script, and then when you light it, you find your story. Like it just constantly progresses and you sort of lean into the things that are working and the things that don't work and you kind of pivot.
Yeah,
And
it's great. And like I said, it looked just like my camp. And I went to camp in Minnesota, right
Okay.
outside Brainerd,
Yeah.
where they have the giant Paul Bunyan. Um, but I used to go to that place at the day I got picked up from camp every year, the Paul Bunyan Park. But oh, and also this is fun. I was a counselor for um, Bobby McFerrin's kids,
Oh shit.
and they were terrible, just awful brats. But that's
I
all.
find it so cool. Like I've talked to so many people that are like, I went to camp, and then I became a counselor. And like
Ah,
that's the thing. It's like that's like, oh, you were at a part of this camp for 10 plus years
yeah.
as a camper, and then eventually a junior counselor, and then like that's cool. That's
CIT
awesome.
counselor in training and
Yeah,
everything. Yeah.
yeah.
No, and we did some cool stuff. I got to canoe through the boundary waters doing that
Ah,
stuff and everything. It
yeah,
was like it's where I did like I lived my life then and now I can just fuck off and sit
yeah.
around and
I
watch
have also
the
I have also canoed through the Boundary Waters. How have we never talked about that?
I don't know.
That's
You
wild.
guys passed. You guys passed
Yeah,
Virginia
Yeah,
right
I was
now.
like,
Yeah.
oh, look at that
Knew
dude.
we knew each other.
So I'm interested in like so the story is obviously like original and great and written very well. It's an amazing premise, and I'm not gonna give anything away about it, but like it is like it goes from being one thing and then it shifts.
and I think we can all confidently say Ryan really pushed this is that you crushed the landing.
Yeah, like well the landing is the landing, and I won't even get into that because like I was like the second the final scene happens, like I was literally out of my seat. And that was like,
Yeah.
yes, like it like this is just what I wanted. Like I could tell whoever made it really enjoyed horror because they were like, you know what I'm gonna do?
Yeah,
I'm gonna
Like
do this.
so so hey, like movie making is hard enough when it's a singular genre, singular style.
Yeah.
It is hard enough without just making a movie at all. But this movie has a specific look to it and a specific vibe to it that's what really struck me through it is what I liked is like there's a certain like there are some sharp cuts there are some like you know there are some decisions made that's like honestly like looking at your filmography and I was surprised that you hadn't had like movies out like every year with the level of directing that kind of went into it because it is like it has this almost kind of Cape Fear sort of cut to it at times, and like and at like you know what I mean, and like which is like I'm not even like a big Scorsese fan, but Cape Fear is a freaking brilliantly cut movie. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
And
Yep.
like and so it kind of which is kind of based in that sort of old vibe. So how do you come up with that? How do you look at the source material and be like, okay, it needs to change from this type of movie kind of to this type of movie? I you can keep the same style for both types both genres of movie but it is different, you know what I mean? And then
Yeah.
it goes how do you tackle that as a filmmaker?
Yeah, that's, obviously that's a big thing. And part of the interesting thing with the Marshmallow is that, it's sold, set up as a slasher film. Um, and then there's more to it, right? And,
Right.
that's the kind of thing like I think we all just sort of leaned into. It's like we're going to take a big swing, and like I said, it's going to hit for some, it's not going to hit for others, and that's cool. Um, but I think being like everybody being confident with what we were going to do and what how we wanted to shift and kind of push things around. I think that everybody had to be on board early on. And I mean like everybody in terms of like art department, music, everybody has to sort of like know and understand and be cool with it. And I think that that helps the cause because everybody's working towards the, we're all going to the same island, right? On the boat, we're all like
Right,
steering the
sure.
same direction. Um, and yeah, I think, like I love Spielberg films. Like he's
I
like,
got a huge ET vibe. I don't
oh,
know if that.
I got all my little ET figures sitting over
There
here.
you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
ET was one of my references.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But I think that like, Spielberg early on in his career, what he did with taking genres and sort of mixing and blending them and
Hmm.
like Jaws going from something terrifying and the music changing drastically into something more like having more lighthearted and more humor.
Like
Like
adventurous. Yeah.
yeah, and I think it just creates something very different and unique, and it invites you into the story in a way that you're not beating somebody over the head. I like that, and I think we wanted to do that here. We're like, yeah, we have to it has to transition and not just be completely like out of nowhere. And I think that like, in terms of like the style of the film, how we shot it and how we edited it was really important. So when it transitions, it feels smooth. The music as well,
Hmm.
and the sound design, those were like the really important things. We talked about wanting to create something that was music what was very ethereal, right? And
Oh my gosh. I
yeah,
wrote in my notes that last the Louis Armstrong, What
yeah.
a Wonderful World. I said it described it as ethereal.
Yeah, yeah, it's cool because Nick wrote all the music, and as he was writing it, like how do we we had very specific like setups for like anytime we had water, there was going to be this instrumentation. Anytime we had like the kids like embracing, there was going to be this sort of instrumentation. Anytime we had the horror stuff, there was going to be this sort of instrumentation. And so we were like kind of blending that stuff. And then when we did that song, we wanted to redo it and tweak it in a way that captured some of that sort of synthy, ethereal, vibe and make it haunting but pretty, right? And I think that the score does that. And I think
The
that plays
score is incredible.
it plays a
Yeah.
huge part in the transition of the
Yeah.
genre, you know?
God.
Um, it's so and I'm gonna we can talk more about it, but I am gonna I do want to get into your influences. Simply because and what you've done previously, just because I want to see how we walk to that. But I am just gonna say that like I think my favorite part about it is with those is that it just feels like a classic horror movie. Like it is a horror film for horror fans. It doesn't do any, there's no fat on it. You know what I mean? Like it
Yeah,
just does this and then it does this and then it does that. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
it's like there's little to no fat on it, and I love that because it gives that like almost 70s, but like
yeah.
but it's more like kind of like it's more grounded now. It's not like, and that's a hard window to hit without like, so it's got this vibe, but it's not like we're redoing that shit. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
like, and so like, so how long have you've been in the movies for a while, clearly. You've made other movies, but there's chunks of time between there. So how do you spend your time and then all of a sudden be like, "Oh, hey, I'm just gonna bust out
Just
another
drop
goddamn
this
horror
dope ass
podcast favorite
movie.
ass movie of the year." So
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I went to school for illustration back in the day, a long time ago.
Mhm.
I've always loved illustration. I've always loved movies, and I've always loved music, like since I was a little kid. And I started working like out of school. I got a job in advertising. So I started working in advertising, doing like concept designs and storyboards, and then just lied a whole bunch to everybody, like, oh, I know how to animate, I know how to do this, I know how to do this,
Mhm.
and then promptly taught myself or worked with friends, and we just kept doing it. And then over a course of time, I had the opportunity to start my own company, hired all my friends who I had been friends with for a really long time. So we listened to fucking punk rock music all day. We animated commercials, and we all loved movies. We all watched movies all the time. We're like, hey, let's do something different, than our Nike commercial or whatever we were working on. And so we wrote our first short film. And we wrote it based on an idea that I had, and then we also put all the stuff in it that we wanted to do. Like, I want to make this, I want to do this. And we just had a fucking blast doing it. And we got into South by. It was like our first film, first festival was South by. And we were just met a ton of awesome people there. And we're like, oh, great, we want to do this more often. But of course, we were financing it ourselves. You know what I mean? So there's the gaps, right? It's like
Right.
doing a movie, and it's like, okay, we're gonna make another short film, and everyone's gonna donate their time for free, and we were gonna pay hard costs, all the things that we need to pay, and pull the money out, do it. And it was more just to have fun, honestly, with our friends. I think some of my best friends I've got to work on with all my projects, and I've met some of my new best friends, being able to go to festivals and cons and all of that cool shit. And it's been amazing for that reason. And honestly, the only reason to make movies, I think, is to have a good time. And to
Sure.
surround yourself with people that also want to have a good time. Like, if the movie is great and fantastic and it blows up, that's great. But if it sucked behind the scenes, it was a waste of time, and it's
100%.
not worth it. I'd rather make a shitty movie and have a good time, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And everybody left smiling than make a great big gigantic movie and everyone fucking hates each other, and me, So
It
yeah,
sounds very Sam Raimi and his crew, you know, like
100%. Yeah, it's like everyone just dives in, and it's really fun. It's just
yeah.
it's fucking fun,
Well, and
And
you can feel that too. And it's rare you can like the movie isn't that much fun once you get through it. Like at the end, I wasn't like, that was a jolly time. But like you can tell like it was fucking cool. Like the people that made it were all into it. You
well,
can tell when everybody's behind the
It was
project and
made by horror
100%.
fans.
Right.
Like
yeah,
Yeah.
that's yeah.
something I learned early in my life is surround yourself with people that are way better than you.
Mhm.
And I think that really came true when I went to art school. like I went to college and I went there and I was like, holy shit, everybody here is way better than me. When you're in high school, you're like, oh, there's three artists and they're all, you guys are the best, you know? And then you go to high school or to college and it's like everybody there is to be an artist and everyone was fantastic. And that was scary as hell at first, but then also I realized it was the greatest thing ever because I was like, I've learned so much.
100%.
And so like throughout my career, like I could confidently say every person that I've worked with is way better than me. And on the movie, everybody was fantastic. And I want everybody to feel like they have a say in it. Like I'm just steering the ship. I know what the end goal is, right? And there's a trust that people have to have in me as a director. However, I want everybody to bring what they can to the table and feel like that they've influenced it. You know what I mean?
100%.
Um,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and that's when you get that excitement and you see thumbprints, right? All these thumbprints.
I want to mention this too because one thing I noticed about it is with the cast. Like you got some of the people on the cast are comedic actors. You
Yeah,
know, so you got Paul Soter, who is one of the Broken Lizards guys,
yeah,
and he fucking plays it serious. Like
He
again
was
going,
great.
yeah, I mean
yeah,
like going with the theme of the movie not being what you think it's going to be. He
yep,
kind of did the same thing, where it was just like, oh, it's a broken lizard guy. Like, you know, if you
yep.
notice
My
him, you
wife
notice
had
him.
just met him a couple days before we watched Marshmallow.
Oh,
She
Yeah,
really?
she popped big for it. Yeah, she's a huge
Yeah,
fan. We're from Vermont, so
yeah.
Super Troopers is, they give that to you when you're born.
Right.
I think it was
It,
cool for like Paul and a lot of the actors because it's like there's a reason why they're cast in the film. Like there's a reason for their parts in the movie,
right.
and they get to do two different things. They get to play a character, and then they get to transition. And there was moments on set where all of them were having these moments where they were getting to transition, and it was beautiful for me to see, you know, like,
Mm-hmm.
oh man, like there was many times where I was like had tears in my eyes. I'm like, ah, love it.
I,
That's
I
so
thought
rad.
I thought Paul in it though was still kind of funny. Like, you know what I mean?
He
Like,
was
not
Oh,
kind
like
of
he
funny.
like
was.
Yeah.
like he just like he's still you could still tell he's like it's kind of like when what's his name plays Saul Goodman. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like
yeah, Bob
it's a
Odenkirk.
dead
Yeah,
ass serious role, but it's also kind of
Yeah,
funny. You
you're
know what
still
I
Bob
it
mean? Like
has.
Odenkirk. Yeah.
right. Like so
It's really until our ending closer to the end where you get real moments out of it,
right.
right?
Yeah.
And then it makes everything it balances everything else. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And you
you
also had
must
like
have
Corbin Burnson in there too. So
Yeah.
That's super
you got
rad.
like the dentist.
Yeah.
Like so he's in there,
Hell
you
yeah.
know,
I,
like
I I'm a fucking nerd, like all the way across the board. Like there's no like everybody that I worked with on this film, I was nerding out about. Like
yeah.
I and it was, you know, I just came out with all of them like, hey, just so you know, there's gonna be a lot of conversations about this. We're gonna talk
Yeah.
about Major League and the dentist a lot. We're gonna talk
Yeah,
about
right.
Yeah,
fucking
yeah.
Super Trooper and everyone. It was fun. We just were all really close and I think yeah, it was exciting.
Georgia Wiggum was also from Ted, the
Yeah.
series, which
Yeah.
is also funny. Like I saw her too, and I was like, I literally had just got done referring one of my friends who liked the Ted movies to the series, and then I saw her pop up in the movie. I was like, get the fuck out of here. Like
Yeah.
I did not expect that at
She
all.
and she
And
was a
she was
camp
great.
counselor. So like during like when we were doing casting, like her scene was the story that she was
Yeah.
for the test, right? And I was like one long take, fucking does like a 7 minute, you know, monologue for this campfire tale. And I'm like, God damn, this is like so fucking natural. Like it's like you've
Yeah.
done this before. And she goes, well, I actually have. And I was like,
Yeah.
that makes
Nice.
sense, you know?
You could feel that she had been a
Yeah.
counselor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For
She
real.
had the look, the
She
vibe, the tone,
absolutely.
everything. And it's funny
Yeah.
because so much of what you saw, like I remember I was working with Marcy who did all the like makeup and hair. I was like, ah, just leave her like this, leave him like this, leave him like this, leave her like everybody came in and it was like they just were the vibe and I didn't want to alter it. Again, we wanted to make it like natural to who the vibe was, you know, which
sure.
was cool. Yeah.
Before we move on, and this is going to be pain for our listeners, but anybody watching, I gotta show you something. Um, this poster here.
Oh.
You
Badass.
have it directly behind
Yeah.
you. We
Nice.
have the same Twin Peaks Fire
Yep.
Walk with Me poster.
Yep.
I
These
just
are all my
anyway.
Twin Peaks posters right
Yeah,
here.
exactly. I noticed
Yeah.
that. So I had to. I sorry. I just like I got up earlier and pulled it off the wall because I was like,
Yep.
we're in the cool like foreign Twin Peak poster
Yep.
club.
Hell yeah.
So I'm just gonna ask you this. Just I'm gonna take a shot in the dark. What was the name of the video store that you went to as a kid to watch horror movies? Because I feel like you got VHS Kid written all over you.
So there was a local store. It was called what was it called? Palm Video, right down the street from our
Hmm.
house.
That's a good name.
Yeah,
It
it
is.
was
It's
just
good.
like
It's a
a
good video store name.
yeah, it was just a very generic, full to the brim video store. Um, of course there was a Blockbuster, and like everybody, like
Sure.
all of us horror nerds, it was like, hey, let's go get the best covers.
Right.
I
Yep.
remember that Palm Video Store went out of business like way early before everything else like went away. And I remember going there and it was like a fucking gold mine. I got like Meet the Feebles and Dead Alive on VHS, like
Oh
bought them
my God.
all. And I built my collection from having rented all of this stuff. And I was like Evil Ed, like all of these like hard to find movies back in the
Yeah,
Sure.
day.
yeah.
I pulled from there, which was awesome.
Do you still have them?
That's
I don't, it's funny when I moved, all of my shit, all of my movies were all stolen, my VHS.
Oh
And
no.
that was my transition to DVDs. So
Right.
I had a couple of DVDs because they had just started, and then I had a shit ton of VHS, and all of it was all taken. So I started just going right down to the DVD, but my oldest son is huge into VHS now, so me and him every week we go maybe twice a week to go VHS hunting, and he's
That's
got
rad.
a pretty massive
perfect.
collection,
That's
which is
cool.
awesome.
It's nice to have
Oh,
kids to force your shit
my
onto.
son just got me this for Christmas, which I
Oh,
was
Oh,
very
hell
excited.
yeah.
Yeah,
beautiful.
yeah.
What did you grow up on slashers? Did you grow up like the most of us on that sort of stuff, or were you more into like Cronenberg and things like that? Because I kind of feel like you were.
I love Cronenberg. I
Hmm.
love David Lynch, of course.
Hmm.
Um, I grew up with Spielberg, so like Jaws and E.T. and Close Encounters, like were huge. Alien was huge for me. But it's funny, like I guess my transition for me in life was my parents were out and I stole my dad's like VHS tapes. He had like, you record three movies on a tape or whatever.
Right.
Yep.
And I took one of them and I put on, it was Mad Max, the first Mad Max,
Hmm.
Friday the 13th part two, and then Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Holy shit.
And
That's
I was like
that's a great
Perfect
yeah,
guess.
lineup.
nine or 10, 9 or 10 years old, should not have seen those. And it was like the first time from watching like Spielberg type stuff, which gave, a certain vibe to this. It was
Sure.
very different. And I was like, wow, I didn't know you could make stuff like it just felt so different. I still have like Mad Max still, I love the movie. I still have visions of seeing it when I was a kid of that mom running and
Yep.
you're in the cars terrified me, still terrifies me,
Sure.
and I think like that really kind of made me say, oh, I could, get some friends together and we could just have fun. Um,
Sure.
yeah,
We could
it felt more accessible,
sure,
Yeah.
absolutely.
yeah,
Okay, I
And
have a
honestly,
real quick question just to jump in here.
yeah.
Would you just, and you don't have to do this, but could you rank the Mad Max movies?
Including all the new ones.
Yeah.
I would say I would go Road Warrior. I would go Mad Max. I would go Fury Road. I would do Furiosa, then I would do Beyond the Thunderdome.
mm,
All right,
Yeah.
interesting.
interesting.
I love every one of them,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but I feel like I've just based on, I don't know, I just have had like certain things for each of them. I
Yeah.
For sure, for
I
sure.
go back and forth between Mad Max and Road Warrior flipping, but I just think fucking Road
You
Warrior is
like those
such
first two
Yeah.
a
it's just
lot,
such
yeah.
a good fucking movie. And
Yeah.
the new ones are really great, but again, like I feel like again, nerds like us, you have stuff that you latched onto when you were a kid, and there's just more there for me to like outside of the movie. I remember everything else around it.
Yeah,
that was
for
happening in my
sure.
life.
Well,
And
I
I, you know,
latched on as a kid, I latched on to Thunderdome. And that's
yeah.
actually what my second, I think my first favorite, and actually I think it's my third, but I think it goes Fury Road and Furiosa. And then Thunderdome. So kind of the
Oh,
opposite
interesting.
of you,
Yeah, yeah.
actually.
You know what's funny?
Um,
I love Thunderdome so much, and it is really great. And every time I watch it, I always leave going, I just want more Thunderdome. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like
Right.
you leave, and all that stuff is really cool. But like I just remember when I saw it when I was little, like I had that's what I like really like. It was just this dystopian weird world and this fucking
It was
cage fighting, and it was just
Yeah,
so
it was the
cool.
weird one, and it had Tina Turner, and I think I was like, "Oh,
Oh,
this is just fucking cool."
so cool, so cool. Yeah,
Yeah, I've these are really the only Mel Gibson films I'll watch anymore. I will still watch Mad Max and Road Warrior and Thunderdome for that matter. But I do think that like it's funny because Road Warrior is not just called the Road Warrior anymore. It was at the beginning. It's now called
yeah.
Mad Max 2, the Road Warrior,
They went
which
back to calling it Mad Max too.
everything
Yeah,
I've seen in the wild, like because I we owned it as a kid, like in the
yeah.
plastic
It
clamshell
was
box, and
just the Road Warrior.
yeah, and it just was just called the Road Warrior, and and I don't know at one point they decided to do that, but
That
Well,
was
it,
up
it
till
got
pretty
re
recently, I feel like.
yeah, it got released as Mad Max 2, and when it came over, they said like, "Hey, we feel that we can bring an audience into this that have never seen the first one." And that's why they put it straight to the Road Warrior and built
Right.
this whole big thing. And then I feel that like as it gained its popularity, they're like, "Let's make sure that
As the
it's
jig was up, and
yeah, yeah,
right,
they
yeah,
figured
First
out it
one
was the
now.
sequel.
yeah,
right.
yeah,
But yeah, they're phenomenal movies, and they really represent an area. So I'm a Road Warrior guy too, just because I think that like my age, like that was kind of my introduction to that world was Road
yeah,
Warrior because the Road Warrior was like the movie and that people had seen. And my people hadn't wouldn't my parents weren't very strict about what I saw, but there was an R word scene in the first one that they didn't want me to see.
yeah,
So I ended up focusing on Road Warrior, and that
yeah,
became like sort of like the Mad Max movie. And then as I got older, I watched Mad Max, and I
yeah,
arguably the better movie. But I will say, just walk away, and that whole scene and the sort of like I will have to say, hit like the dichotomy of that villain like who kind of
yeah,
like gives them the opportunity. He's like, I am a big terrible like he gives them is such a well written like not enough is talked about like what an
yeah,
interesting character that is. You know what I mean? Like
yep,
that he is like he's a villain, but he's also like he's reasonable. You know
yeah,
what I mean? Like
yeah,
he's oddly like a reasonable person.
yeah,
His tagline is like kind of like go ahead and just get the fuck out of here. You know?
yeah. So yeah, it's so
That's
great.
my tagline.
I love it so much.
That's
Um
so rad.
so yeah, I mean so it is like the rest of us, we watch those movies and you're like, oh my God, I feel like we could actually do this. And that's pretty cool
Yeah.
that you went ahead and like actually did it. And
Yeah.
so as somebody who grew up with it, how did you feel when you started to see like the reviews started to come in? And I mean, like yes, you'll notate that there are negative reviews out there, but like we deal with this a lot with independent. We interview a lot of independent people, and fucking the horror world is savage. You know what I mean? Like
Oh yeah, yeah,
I would have loved to have seen them reviewing like Freddy 4 when it
yeah,
came. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah,
You know what I mean? Like when that like now all that stuff is just classic and we just watch it. It is what it is. But if that stuff had come out, like when this started to get like really positive feedback from like the horror community and stuff like how as like a lifelong horror fan how did that had to be pretty cool.
yeah. It's amazing. Like honestly, I feel that if we made a film and one person liked it, then it's a success. But like for me personally, the movie came out in theaters, which was crazy.
Right.
And so I went to the theater with my family, and my son like leaned over and he's like, "Hey, Dad, I really like your movie." And I was like, "I'm done. Like I don't give a shit. about anything.
Right.
That
Right.
was it for me. Like I felt
Right.
like I closed the book. I felt that I succeeded. And that's all that really mattered. And it's funny because so many people mention like TikTok. I don't have TikTok. So like I'll get like random people will forward me TikTok things. I can't see it because I don't have it.
Right.
But it's really cool. And honestly, it's great if people can connect to it. And um, because I did. I connected with
Sure.
the source material and I really liked it because of that. And um, horror movies don't need to be bloody and cut people's heads off to be scary, right? Like
No.
the scariest thing in the world is growing up and trying to find yourself. I'm in my middle age right now, and I'm still trying to find myself in the world. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And it's terrifying. And now being a parent, it's terrifying being a parent. It's the greatest thing ever, but it's terrifying because of
Yeah.
so much stuff. And yeah, hearing people that connect to it from one reason or another. Like I've had people that have kids that connected and will reach out, which is fucking great, and people that have gone to camp that reached out, and it's really cool, and it just blows my mind. We made an independent movie, um, just did something different, and it's cool that it gained a little pocket of people that
Sure.
have enjoyed it, and yeah, it's great.
Well, we think it's
Gonna
just
be
it's like such a cool movie,
it
honestly.
really
Like
is.
after I finish it, I've watched it 3 times now. And
Oh,
every time I
amazing.
finish it, I'm like, I feel cooler.
I legit think it's gonna be one of those movies that people are gonna be like, because the way that it's being released right now, like obviously it's great that it's on Shudder,
I'm so
but
glad it's on
it's
Shutter now.
like super stoked about that. But it's been a gradual release. Like, it's been
Yeah.
one of those things where you could get it on video on demand at first. Like
Yep.
you could rent it. It had the small theatrical run.
Yep.
Now it's getting the wider thing on Shudder. So it's getting like this rolled out kind of release for people. But I think it's going to be one of those movies that, like, in the next couple of years, you're going to hear people go, like, oh, fuck, have you seen Marshmallow? Like, it came out, in
Right.
like 2025 or 2026 or whenever they saw it. And I think it's going to be one of those movies that kind of like, as time goes, and I don't even think it's going to be a lot of time. I think it's just going to be like a year or two. It's going
I
to be one
think
of
it's
those
gonna
things where
catch
people,
steam, especially now that it's available on
legit, I
Shutter.
think it's
Yeah.
just it. I absolutely think it's going to be one of those ones where people are going to be like, "Oh no, you got to go back and watch this." Like it was this
Yeah.
fucking movie that you probably missed it, or like whatever. It's kind of going to be one of those ones that's like a little bit on the underground, but
It, it
like it's going to be boosted up by the horror people.
it's so weird because like, when we went to the theater by us, like it played in a big chunk of theaters. So it was weird getting people sending me tickets. Like I was like, oh, that's fucking cool. But it like I sat down and I looked around and it was a bunch of randos in the theater. And that was like so bizarre to me. It wasn't a film festival where people are there because you're at a film festival. Like it was random people that randomly saw something to make them want to go see this movie. And that like blew my mind. Like I was just like, oh my God, never in a million years expected this little movie that we made would be in theaters, let alone random people would be seeing
Hmm.
it. And then like just every couple of days, somebody I get something like, hey, Red Letter Media posted about this. I'm like,
Right.
what? Oh, hey, so and
Right.
so posted about it, and it was Esquire posted about it being the best sci-fi film of 2025, like at the time, like, and they like listed it by like fucking Fantastic Four and Superman, and I was like, what? Like things like that are just like blow my mind. I still just can't believe that a little film, our little film, like kind of is getting like slow dripped out there, and
Hmm.
people talk about it, good or bad. People are
Um,
talking about it.
you can say you don't have TikToks, but I will tell you, TikTok it gets a lot of slack in this world for whatever reason, but it is very good with horror.
Oh yeah,
And the algorithm will shove what you like down your throat.
yeah,
It's like the opposite of Facebook, which like goes for like
goes the
negative,
wrong way. Yeah,
goes for like negative engagement.
yeah.
Like you're like you can like, oh, I like this video of this cool looking lowrider, and then you will get like low, you know what I mean? Next thing you
I
know,
will,
you're
I will fall. I fall down that rabbit hole so fast, and that's the reason I don't have it.
you're right,
That's
exactly.
fair. That's fair.
I'm like, I have like a family, and I'm trying to make movies, and I have a job, like, and I'm just like, I just and I spend too much time on my phone as it is. I don't
Yeah.
need to,
Right.
You get on TikTok, you're like, oh fuck, my responsibilities are gone. Shit.
Yeah.
I
I get a lot of good TikTok stuff from my wife. She has it, and
Good,
she'll
good.
send me stuff. I'm like, can you just show it to me when I'm out
At
of my
least one of
office?
you,
Yeah.
Yeah.
at least one of you do. It's great.
Yeah.
I write like extreme horror and splatter punk, so it's like you got to kind of be on TikTok for that.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird, but it's but I actually like TikTok. I think it's the like I feel like I never leave TikTok feeling like angry like I do when I leave Facebook.
Everything else. Yeah. Yeah.
But it's so but it like all of the big horror content creators on TikTok on Marshmallow was way up on
Yeah.
everybody's like 6 month middle of the year list. You know what I mean? And so it
Okay.
like there was a lot like so when I had heard about it, I was like everybody was like, I don't know. I think TikTok or I think Marshmallow might be my favorite this year. And uh and I'm like, oh God, I gotta, so I bought it and it was like um I was like, oh, fuck, like this is like, and then go back to what I said at the beginning, 'cause just to round this part out is that I like where I feel like there's movies that are markers, and I think like like where evil lurks. If you when evil, God, why do I? It's like one of
It's
my favorite
when
movies.
you got
It's
it right.
when, yeah,
Yeah, it's
it's
when evil
it's just
lurks. Yeah.
terrible though because like I've can, it is one of my favorite movies of all time, and like I still can't remember the name. Like I like I've emailed with
Yeah.
the director. Anyways, but like there are these markers for movies, and I think that this year, you look at like Ugly Stepsister, and I look at Marshmallow, and I look at those two films, and I say, this is where we want horror now. This is where the horror fans want horror is this vibe, like this
Yeah.
independent, like but like still like original, and they're like still like a lot of passion, and still like it doesn't feel cheap. It doesn't, you know what I mean? But it's like
Yeah. Yeah.
clearly like it's not glossy and dumb. It is like, but it's
Didn't feel
also
like
like
there was anything put in that didn't need to be
right.
too. Like you
Yeah.
said, it was the fat was trimmed and stuff, but like everything was for a purpose. It didn't feel like, oh, well, we should do that again or
Yeah.
more
Right.
or something. It was
Yeah.
And also, it's also not A24. You know what I mean? Or Neon, and nothing against those films, but like, but those films can be exhausting. You know what I mean? And like, like I love those movies, but I have to be in a specific mood for those movies, and
Yeah.
like, and a specific space. I don't really, and sometimes I don't, I don't need
It's
it.
like
Like I
you're a
have enough.
$10 million movie that's trying real fucking hard to look like you only cost
You're
$500,000.
right. You're like
Like,
a ten
what are
million
you
dollar
doing?
movie
Like,
that's trying to be Marshmallow, and you
right.
know what I mean. And so I watched both those movies very close together this year, and I will say that both of them just really hit where they needed to hit, and that's got to be I mean, like maybe you're like, yeah, that's cool, but like for us, we really appreciate it. You know what I mean?
No,
Like
I appreciate it. I mean, honestly, every movie is a victory. Making anything is a
yeah,
victory. Especially now, like you said, like back in the day with like bands and movies, like it was what you heard from somebody that heard from somebody else. Like it was this like chain, right? And you're like, oh, somebody mentioned this random movie I have to try to find, or
Yeah.
somebody mentioned this band, or you would find a band that was an opening act that you never knew of and you bought the CD
right.
and that was it. Like, and now it's so easy to dismiss stuff right out of the gate before, you know what I mean? There's
Right.
so many things get squashed before they even come out, which is unfortunate because it's, everything takes time and energy. And I feel like as artists, like we need to be pushing and supporting everybody, even if we don't like stuff. If people are making shit, that's good for everybody because
I
it means more
absolutely, yeah.
shit gets made. And like I watch a lot of stuff that's not my taste, and I understand that it's somebody else's taste, and that's totally cool. But
Hmm.
I never want to go and take a shit on it because like
Exactly.
that's it's like everybody's got an opinion, and that's the best part of art is you bring
100%.
stuff to yeah.
We used to do best of lists, or we had a actually like an awards year end awards thing, and we didn't this year or last year because we were kind of tired of pitting art against art.
Yeah.
We just
Yeah.
want to talk about our favorite shit and
Yeah.
and praise that. We rarely talk about anything we don't like.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
We
if
don't
we're
do
not
that
gonna,
that often
yeah,
anymore. Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
Also, I want to say this because I think this is something that works really good in your advantage because the cover of your film,
oh, that's
the
what I was
cover,
gonna say.
yeah, the cover of your film looks like it's going to be a certain film. So you have people that
Yeah.
walk into that movie expecting that movie. And then by the time that halfway point hits, they're like, oh, what the fuck? Like,
Yeah.
And
but like in a
also,
good
even
way. Like,
after walking out, I'm still like, or after seeing it or whatever, I'm like, Marshmallow.
yeah, yeah, legit. Like, so it's cool because
Like
like
I
you'll have
still
these
not
you legit
sure
will
how that
have
works, but I mean,
yeah,
I
and
get
it's
the rep, but like, it's weird. I
I
love
just
it.
think I think it's very cool that your film is going like the way that it's marketed, the way that it looks, the way that the cover is, the way that the everything is. I do think it's very particularly cool that your movie is going to be one of those ones that spearheads that whole thing of somebody walking into a movie expecting this and then walking out going, "Oh fuck, I didn't even know I liked that kind of movie." And now
Yeah.
I do,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's
It,
cool.
it
It's a
was
really
a
cool thing.
that was the hardest part. Like when we were, finished the movie and we were going to start to put it out there, we're like, how do we market it? Like, do we sell it one way? Do we not sell it? Do we show our villain in it? Do we not show the villain? Like the poster, I mocked up tons of different stuff. And then finally, like, fucking, let's lean into it and
Yeah.
sell it for what is expected. Um, so people
It's a really nice The Thing homage too.
that was
Hmm.
the reference when I started painting.
Yeah.
When I started painting, I was just, my producer Warner, he's like, "Oh, we should like when we designed the character, I remember saying to our costume designer was like, I just want to create a really great silhouette." And I had the main still that's out everywhere of the doctor like standing against the background with his little, weapon. That was the vision I had. It's just silhouette, but then there's a reason why all the stuff is there that you learn in the movie. Like
Hmm.
it's very everything's on purpose. It's not like just a costume. And so when we were designing the poster, I was just like, yeah, we gotta let's lean into it because it totally makes sense.
Right.
Yeah,
Yep.
Yeah.
yeah.
So, what do you follow this up with? What do you got? Anything in the cooking in the pot, or
Yeah, we have a couple of projects that we are working on right now. Yeah, I don't know that I'm allowed to say,
It's fair.
It's
but
It's all
totally
right.
fine.
but
We
I'm
just
gonna
want to know
I'll,
that you're planning on making more
one of
movies.
them says one of them says part two. One of the
Oh,
movies we're
okay.
working on says part two. So there will be an
okay?
announcement. There will be an announcement for that very soon.
Yeah.
All right, that
All
Yeah,
sounds
right.
fucking
yeah,
cool.
yeah.
This is this I like. This I
Yeah, we're
like.
very
When you
into it.
But yeah, it's going to be the Road Warrior. It's not going to be part two.
Gotcha.
Call the Road Warrior for now.
All
Yeah,
right. It's
yeah,
gonna
I
be the Road
love
Warrior
it.
part.
yeah.
Make sure you can please come back and talk with us
For that, yeah, for
for
whatever.
that. So
Yeah.
I want to.
Anytime. You're a fucking
Anytime. Yeah,
Yeah.
homie.
yeah.
um,
Um,
Kill list?
kill list. You think you can handle the kill list?
Yes, sir.
Do
I
it.
I
think you
think
can.
so. We're gonna go with the slasher one for the first one. Freddy or Jason?
Freddie.
Right off the bat. I
Yeah.
love it. Um, what movie would you remake?
Man. Children of the Corn.
Ooh,
Oh, I
yeah.
like that. I'd like to
That
see
one that
your
needs a good
take on
remake.
that. Yeah, because that last one was
Yeah.
not good.
I showed my wife the first. She had never seen the original. We watched it, and she's like, "It's cool, but it could be way more."
Way cooler. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was just like, when she said that, I was like, "Yeah, we could do dark." So that's my wish
I
one day. Yeah,
I would love that. Yeah. Oh, because that first one is still just fucking incredible too.
yep.
Um, if you could erase one movie from existence, what would it be? Doesn't have to be horror.
One movie from existence. I don't know that I could answer that.
It's our most passed on question by
It
far,
is our
especially
most.
with
Yep.
filmmakers.
Yep.
Yeah, I honestly don't know. I don't know what I could say. right when we hang up, I'm sure I'll think of something and I'll message you if I think of it. But yeah, I don't have something that comes to mind that just makes me like angry,
You
you
know what's
know?
No,
funny?
that's
So
good. I
just
like
to,
that attitude.
I
Yeah.
also just I do want to mention this just in case because there's two ways you can answer this question. There's either a movie that just really pissed you off and you're like, "No, I don't want that movie," or you could erase a movie just to see what the chaos effect would be.
Oh yeah.
So like Graham erased Scream because the
Oh
chaos
I
effect
love
would be
Scream
crazy.
too,
Yeah.
yeah.
but I think it changed. I think it was a mark in horror.
Well, that's the problem because I think every movie, no matter what it is, no matter the scale, it stuff spark off of it. You know
Something
Yeah,
what I
happens.
mean? And
Yeah.
it's like Back to the Future. You like go back and all of a sudden like you're not born, like your parents don't kiss,
yeah,
you're not going to be born and it changes, you know? And I feel that we have that problem with art in general. Like
Yeah.
if something didn't
yeah,
exist, what wouldn't have come from it? That would be interesting to know. But
yeah,
Scream would have changed the whole dynamic of the horror world.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Absolutely.
I had zero problem getting rid of Rob Zombie's Halloween movies. Like zero, zero, zero.
Like we don't need
Yeah,
those.
that's one of our
Yeah.
one and only punching bags.
Yeah. It's just
We
like
actually,
Rob.
sorry,
we
Rob.
what's funny is we actually love his brother, Spider
Yeah,
Woman.
we've
He's
had Spider
His
on the
brother
show.
rules.
He's
his
He's
Yeah.
brother
amazing.
rules.
makes great movies.
his movies are
Yeah,
fantastic. Like it's
amazing.
yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, I,
You know what branched off of Rob Zombie's Halloween movies? Fucking nothing. That's what happened.
like
So we
me
can get
having
rid
a
of those.
headache. Me having a headache in the first one when they you just realize that it's Michael standing there without a mask on reading the sign and he looks like a white zombie roadie. You know what I
You're
mean?
just like, ugh, like why?
Like
Why did you
why?
do that?
Why did you do this?
Yeah. And you killed
um,
William Forsythe, you son of a bitch. Like,
Daniel's like, okay, guys, you know,
yeah,
I'm in the
Those are my
same.
favorite movies,
right.
so
I don't know what to tell you guys.
He's like, I work in the same industry as that guy, so you know.
I also I the only other thing we really bag on it is only me or the Conjuring movies. But
oh, the Conjuring
Oh,
films.
Graham.
yeah,
Yeah.
I
I'm
hate
just
the
not.
actual Warrens. The actual
I
Warrens,
hate
yeah.
them. I hate the movie. I don't want to get into it. We've talked about it plenty. I think I know the answer for this one, but we're gonna ask it anyway. And I love your hat.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hmm.
Alien or Aliens?
Alien.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Without a question.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's mine
The,
too.
the fucking tone of that movie is
Yeah,
just so good. Like, talk about creating a vibe with nothing, just static shots or like just slow dolly shots, just everything. It's just, I mean, that's beauty. It's beauty. It's
yeah,
awesome. Yeah.
I fully agree.
Yeah.
And I'm a fan of every single movie in the except for the
Same.
versus Predators, but
Yeah. Yeah. Same.
even Covenant, all of that shit, I
Yep.
fucking love.
Yeah.
Um, all right, basement or attic?
I think Attic just because I think of the Goonies and I remember growing up and being like, that's the coolest shit ever. Though I'm in a basement right now in my office. So,
Fair.
but
It's fair.
I would say Attic is cool. There's just some feels magical, you know, like I'm gonna find something up there.
I love that you said Goonies because when we bring this up, I say basement for the for horror and the attic for adventure.
Yeah,
And
that's
it's I
it.
always
Yeah,
say because the Goonies
Goonies.
found.
Yep.
That's it. 100%. Yep.
Oh, I love that. We're best friends. Uh, last one. Favorite kill of all time.
Favorite kill of all time. Oh man, that's a tough one.
It really is.
Ooh.
Honestly, sometimes it's unfair because
It's also
there's
just
so
it's one
many
that
good
changes
kills.
like all the time.
I
So
think that I mean, there's so many of them. I really thought the last kill in I Saw the Devil is
oh
where
yeah.
he's in the room. I think that is just, man, like you're waiting for it for you watch a 2+ hour movie and you're waiting for what's going to happen, and that's just like icing on the cake. So yeah, I think that's a good one.
Love
Hell
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
My favorite one this week is the Ladomus family in Ready or Not. The whole family. Just
Yeah.
Jesus,
fucking
I was
just
just about to say that.
yeah, yeah, it's the whole family.
Yeah.
That's
Because
my
that's
favorite
another
one this
one when
week.
you said you're waiting the whole movie for something to happen and then it happens.
Yeah.
There's sometimes
Right
you could
after
go,
you
you
think
could
it's
be
not
like,
gonna happen
yeah,
too.
you could
Yeah.
be like, well, then I called the movie and it's not exciting. I know the ending, but they convince you so well that the family is just nuts and
Yep.
stupid
To
that
the
you're like,
very
well,
last
it
second.
cannot fuck it. And I cheered. I
Yeah.
got
Yeah.
up.
It's great. Yeah. Yeah. That's a good one.
You
can
crushed
we,
it.
yeah, and next time, can we do a whole episode on just South Korean films in general?
Oh
Oh,
God.
yeah.
Yeah.
I would love that.
Yes.
You know what's funny? Speaking of like when we were talking earlier, when like the internet just started to be a thing, and I remember like the first thing that I ex got into was buying bootleg movies from like Korea and Japan, and I got my all region player. I paid, $500 in college for it
Hmm.
and got it all like rigged up, and I started just buying piles of anything and everything that was mentioned, and that was the greatest because it's like we're now exploring things that no one is talking about, but I could get them in order. I
Sure.
pay a shit ton of money, and yeah, my library is just lots and lots of those movies still.
That's so rad.
Yeah, yeah.
Jonas is like, "What's your address?" Anyway,
I have a
It's funny
thousand.
because
I have 1,000 Blu-rays at this point. Like I think it actually is close to that number. And by the way, it's only Tuesday, and I've told 5 people this week so far about Project Wolf Hunting, and all
Yeah.
of them have gotten back to me, and all of them have been like, "What the fuck?" in the best way. Like they're
it,
just like so good.
it's awesome. It's funny because we have a big DVD Blu-ray collection, and when my first kid was really little, my wife is like, "Hey, the movies, the spines, there's a lot of them that are scaring him." And so like I took all my horror ones out, and then those are now in my office on and shelves and everything.
Nice.
But now, they love them. But I remember I had all of those movies that he's like, "What's this?" And he started crying. So yeah.
Oh, shit.
like I love that. Like,
Me
Yeah.
too.
the
It's like,
spines are
don't worry, you'll
scaring
like
the
them later.
Yeah.
the spines are scaring the children. It is time for recommendations. Graham, what do you got?
I'm going first. All right.
I can go first if you need to wait.
Yeah, go.
All right, for streaming, I'm gonna recommend a movie that is also kind of a twist on a trope. It's called Kill Me Again, and it is on Tubi, and it is one of the time loop horrors. But instead of it being a person who's stuck in a time loop with a serial killer, it's a serial killer who's stuck in a time loop with his own kills. So it's like it's a really cool twist on that time loop trope. It's on Tubi. It's really fun. It's not like it's not gonna change the world, but it's a really, really fun sit down and kind of relax and watch a really fun movie. Music. Graham has told us about this multiple times apparently, and I just fucking forgot. But Couch Slut, they fucking rule.
Yeah.
Fucking
Yeah.
good name
So
too.
yeah,
Good
really
name.
good name.
Yeah.
I heard one song from them, and then I listened to everything that I could over the course of
Yeah.
the last couple days, and they're fantastic.
I love that because they're not an easy listen, really.
No, 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 they're not. No, they're a femme rage noise band, like, and
Love
they
it.
Yeah.
fucking
Yeah.
rule, absolutely rule. For physical media, I'm going to recommend some camp movies. So we're gonna do the three sleepaway camps.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
So I got the first one there, got the second one there, got the third one there, and the fourth one is not on Blu-ray, so I don't have that one. Um, and also it's terrible. So I'm not really worried about that one. But yeah, those movies rule.
Like the third
Um,
one is amazing.
the third one is one of the worst movies ever, and I love it so much for it. And then the fourth one came along, and it was just like, oh no, there's not one character in this movie that I don't want to die. Like
I mean,
every
I just
single
like
one of them.
the third one, like they just don't get out of the tents, right? Like, is that
No,
that's
they just
they
fucking the
just stay
third
in
one
like the
had
tent,
no money at all. They're just like,
right?
we're not even gonna have external shots.
We're
Like we're
just
just gonna
we're just gonna have them in the tents,
just that.
and like yeah, it was just such a funny movie. Don't get
Also,
me wrong.
a side note for streaming ones, also camp movie that are on the complete opposite direction, but they're really fun. Don't Fuck in the Woods and Don't Fuck in the Woods 2.
Cool.
Like because they told you not to fuck in the woods the first time and you didn't listen, so there's a second one. And they're both fun twists on the camp type of movie. So yeah.
It's
Graham,
great.
what do you got?
All right. Well, first I want to shout out Blitz Berlin's the last song on Silent Night, Deadly Night. I haven't seen the movie, but I listened to the soundtrack today. It's very cool. They
Yeah.
fucking rule. Um,
And the movie rules too.
yeah,
It's still in
so I
theaters, so
hear.
yeah, check it
Um,
out.
but the last song, I'm assuming it's like the credit song. It's called Saint Bitchless featuring Candy Corn.
Yep.
Candy Corn, both spelled with K. And it fucking rules. It's just a banger. It's a lot of fun. Uh, Another music one. I may have mentioned this before. Ossuary's Abhorrent Worship. I just copy and pasted this because I couldn't. It's a good explanation, but it's a relentless pummeling assault. 6 tracks and 37 minutes of cacophonous, suffocating evil, punctuated with distorted, droning atmospheres, hissing and dripping, wet with bile, vocals encant beneath monstrous searing, chugging guitars and thunderous pounding drums and bass at a primordial pace and executed with precision and finesse. It's that, and it's got like this weird high on fire, like
Ooh.
big sound, like just the size, and it's Izzy. This woman just is guttural, and she plays guitar too. She writes everything, and she is just a fucking force. And so, Abhorrent Worship by Ossuary, please check that out. It's incredible. Marshmallow is on streaming now. Fucking watch that. It's on Shutter. Please go watch that. I usually don't recommend the movie we just talked about, but it's so fucking good. And I want and also now finally on Tubi is the Once and Future Smash.
Yeah.
So now, like, because they had End Zone 2 on there, but you're supposed to watch the Once and Future Smash first and then End Zone 2. It's fucking great.
Yeah, Enzo 2 is the movie that's in the Once and Future Smash
Yeah,
movie. So
Yeah,
like, and
yeah.
for
which
whatever
you
reason
don't really have to see it because the
they
Once and Future Smash is a totally different thing.
different thing, but like
It
they
just
released it.
references, yeah.
Yeah, they released it, and those are our friends of the show, Michael Epstein and Sophia Coppola, and Sophia, kind
Cassiola.
of, God, I'm like struggling today.
No, it's fine. I had to repeat it in my head a few times.
I need
I
to
probably got it wrong still
up
anyway.
my
But yeah,
nerve range.
they are absolutely rad people and filmmakers, and it's a mockumentary about the two actors vying for the remake, the lead in the remake of End Zone, which takes it's a sequel to End Zone 2, but it takes place an hour into End Zone 2, ignoring the last 30 minutes. It's a really fucking funny movie.
It
Yeah.
really
So
is. It's
check
good
that out.
shit.
That's all I got.
Um, I am going to. I don't think we've talked about it on this, but I finally finished the first season of The Chair Company,
Oof.
Oh
and
yeah.
it's like I love Tim Robinson so much. I just think he's just like whatever the thing that he's doing is so it works so well, and it's
Yeah.
like so funny, and The Chair Company is just like it's like it's not like a big long like I think you should leave sketch or anything like that. So, but it has that same sort of wackiness to it. It is from A24, and the last episode got straight up like Fire Walk with Me actually, at times. But it was it's an interesting show, and I like that there's like this kind of weird show that like kind of takes similar tropes and then makes it really fucking out there. And so I really strongly suggest the Chair Company.
I think
It's
him and Nathan Fielder are on different levels right now as
I
far
saw
as
I
comedy.
saw a picture and it was like, this is the only true detective that I need, and it was Nathan Fielder and Tim Robinson.
I
I was
fucking
like,
love that.
I'm all in for that.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
so
yes.
yeah, it's a wild show. It is very I don't know, it's its own thing and it's very original, but it's also still like kind of, I don't know. It's great. And I think that we all love Lou Diamond Phillips, right? Like we all love Lou Diamond Phillips. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know how
God,
people feel. I don't know how
like
people feel about his portrayals of Native people at this point. But it's anyways.
they didn't age
Uh,
well, but then you know, like
well, I mean,
it's
right?
fine.
Like, I guess he's been native and he's been Mexican, but he's actually Filipino. But anyways, I've always been a big fan of Lou Diamond Phillips, and so it's cool to see him. It's still in stuff, and he's great. And of course, Tim Robinson is just as a like as a comedy writer and somebody who's like just a comedy fan, like watching what he brings to it is such a unique and like challenging, like, and like it's so like extra. He's like the least lazy writer ever. He's like, you know what else this needs?
Yeah.
Somebody like in a wheelchair, or like, you know what I mean? Like he just writes like random ass shit, and I just can't get enough of it. Musically, I'm gonna suggest Cyndi Lauper,
Oh,
just because she's still just the coolest. You know what I mean?
just
And
the
like,
coolest.
just the coolest. And I found myself listening to like, listen, I know Madonna sold more records probably in the 80s and 90s, but she had the better voice. And like I was listening to Time
Cyndi
After Time.
Lauper is way the fuck better.
You
Like
wait, you know what I mean? Like it's just like and she was just a cool person, and she's still a cool person, and she fights for LGBTQ people, and she's just good people. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna
I've told
suggest.
you guys my three first records ever that I got for Christmas. First records were Madonna's first album, Huey Lewis and the News Sports.
Love Huey Lewis and News.
Yeah.
Love Huey
And
Lewis and
She's
News.
So Unusual. Yeah, me too. 'Cause those are
yeah,
like,
Great.
yeah, it was those
um,
three. So
and let's see, a movie. Like this is just like an odd recommendation. Like I just watched it. It's on Shutter right now. It's called A Desert, and
oh yeah,
Yeah.
it is it's like a wacky neo-noir sort of thing, and I don't know, like I just enjoyed it. I am going to say it felt very Gen X-y in its vibe, but it was like the way came out, it was very, very good, and I enjoyed it all the way till the end, and it's like kind of everything I wanted to happen happened. So,
yeah. It's a solid movie.
yeah, it's a
I have
solid
not
movie.
seen it yet.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It's, but people are gonna watch it and be like, Ryan, why did you suggest this film? And if you like,
Because
but
fuck you, that's why.
yeah,
Like it's a good movie. Like
but like sometimes it's just like I just like a good like, and like noir is like it's kind of a lost art. Anyways, Daniel, bring us up.
Danny Daniel.
Yep.
Let's see. Since we were just talking about foreign films, The Chaser. I don't know if you guys have
Mm-hmm.
seen that.
mm,
Yep.
Yeah, I
Yep.
yep.
love that film. Um, really great. I think I actually saw that before I saw The Devil. Both very similar in terms of tone, but it's just it's fantastic. Really great. Music. Couple. I've been listening to a lot of Squid Pisser,
Yes.
which
Nice.
I love. I love Squid Pisser. They're great. Really good.
Fantastic name.
Yeah. So, and again, another really,
Yeah.
really great name. And a band that I grew up listening to that I still love that I've put in a couple of my films called The Paper Chase. Very, very amazing. John, the singer composer, is an amazing producer now as well. But The Paper Chase is really, really great. They're from Dallas. Yeah, check them out. Um, and
Yeah,
streaming.
I feel like that's a like something I should have known about. I'm kind of
They you they're really it's very dark, it's very noisy, but it's also it's a nice balance of like very like like piano playing and then crazy
mm,
insane
cool.
guitar, like
Mm,
very like loud, distorted, like it's awesome. They have a bunch of records out, like five or six records, and they're
yeah,
really fucking killer.
cool.
Um
Yeah, they're on Kill Rock
yeah,
Stars and shit. Yeah,
Yeah,
cool. Yeah,
They were on Kill Rock Stars. Yeah, they're fucking great.
Now You're One of Us looks like
Yeah, now
the
you're one of us. That was the last one.
cool.
Yeah,
Sweet.
yeah.
Danny, have you
Oh,
ever heard of the band 68?
I have not.
You should listen to them. I have a feeling
Great.
you would fucking love them.
68's
Okay.
pretty pretty rad.
What kind of music?
Graham, how would you describe him?
Ooh, I'm bad with genres. Here, I can tell you.
For the
Uh,
record, Graham is not bad with genres.
I am.
He just likes being bad with genres. He's cool.
No,
You know
that's
what I'm
not
saying?
true.
You know how there's people who are like, I'm not really into genres, but I do
I'm
like that.
not into I'm the only reason I'm not into genres is because um
You're cool.
so it's like Every Time I Die is one of the, like, I
Okay.
guess,
Yeah, yeah, sure.
who's one of my favorites of all time.
Keith Buckley just did a collab with Barbarians of California. I don't know if you
Who
heard.
I
Mm,
fucking love. Yo,
I
that
yeah.
band, their first album was incredible.
It's amazing. Yeah, they have a second one
Yeah.
coming out now. I saw them open for Snapcase,
Oh wow.
and it
Snapcase
was
is one of my all-time favorites.
yeah. My buddy Limbert painted all their CD covers.
Oh shit.
Fuck
Yeah,
yeah.
and so like I was a huge like I was growing up and I had those posters on my wall, and I ended up taking my first job, and Limbert, who painted those posters, worked there. And he was one of the guys that hired me, and I was like total starstruck. I'm still starstruck by him. He's fucking amazing. But I love Snapcase. Like I grew up
Absolutely.
listening to Snapcase. Yeah.
I went to the reunion they had a 2 night reunion in New York
Oh,
years
really?
ago, and then
Yeah.
they reunited. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
gonna say reunized. They reunited a few times after that, but like their first reuniting was at Webster Hall, I think, and it was 2 nights. It was the last time I stage
I
dived.
I watched those videos going like, God, I fucking want to see them again so bad. And
Yeah,
then they played here this year. We saw
yeah,
them, which was fucking great. And with Barbarians, and it was fucking
so
loud as
cool.
shit. Yeah, it was
I
amazing.
bet.
Yeah, yeah, it was awesome.
I could geek out all night, but yeah, keep going. Sorry.
And I was going to say the chair company too, for
Oh cool.
streaming. So yeah, I second that.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
you watch the whole thing.
I did. I watched it like 3 times.
Yeah,
Every time a new episode came out, I just started over and watched them all again.
right.
Um,
Nice.
and
Right.
it was just so good, so weird. It's funny because he's the most restrained that I've ever seen him in this series, but it's so fucking off the wall.
Right.
It was good. It was
Yeah,
really, really
yeah,
good. Yeah.
it's really like he like what which actually shows like his skill level that he's like I don't have to come here and be like the show is weird enough
Yep.
on
Yeah.
its own that he doesn't have to be the center of weirdness in it, and so he
Yeah.
kind of plays it down, and I really appreciate that. You know what I mean? Like he's
Yeah.
not like
The ending episode with Scrooge was
yeah.
so good.
It's such a weird
So
such a
good.
it's so yeah
Yeah.
it's out there but yeah I really dug it. You have been amazing. Thank you so much for the film this year and the and coming on the show, and I'm super excited to see what you have next, and yeah, and thanks for making like horror what like the horror that I want to see, you know.
Yeah, thank you so much for taking a chance on a small independent film, and for having me here to talk about it. Yeah, honestly, it's like this kind of support is great. It just allows us to be able to, swing big and try different things. And that's the only reason that there's more of that stuff coming out is because of people like you. So
Well, thank you.
yeah, thanks for helping
Thank you.
our
Yeah.
community. Our community needs it, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, I think that's really what our whole goal is we want to give people like you voices, and or just celebrate you, and you have voices. Your movie's killing it. But
Thank you. Thank you.
like but yeah, we just love to, maybe anybody that hasn't heard about this, we want them to fucking know. you know?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Me too. Me too. Watch a movie.
At this point, we'll be aggressive about it. You're like, watch the
Yeah,
fucking
yeah.
movie, man. Like,
No, I really
Well,
appreciate it.
totally. Thank you to everybody who's been listening lately. We've had great listenership lately. We really do appreciate it. We do have a Patreon if you go to AGHP 666 at patreon.com, and you join us, you will be put on the wall of the army of the goddamned, where you will sit at the right hand of God and be taken and help run the world.
God.
mm,
No,
God.
that's a different thing. I actually wish that I could remember in Repo Man what the what they say to
A lord of some
yeah,
kind.
when he's like, "Hey, I was looking for some of that money that to go to college," and they were like, "Oh, we gave it to the guy, but you are on the list," whatever he says. Like I think Repo Man is the most quotable movie of all time. I that's what I
It's
feel.
pretty fucking close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't. Are you commie? I don't want commies in my car. Christians either. Graham, who's on the Army of the Goddamned?
We got Michael, Drew, Stephanie, Katie, Chris, Alan, Angela, Jasmine, Jason, Jake, Vivian, Ron, Kristen, Manny, Coleman, Jared, Michelle, and Brandon. You
Y'all
all
rule.
fucking rule.
You guys are all the heroes. United States is in first place only in listening to our podcast. Otherwise,
You've dropped
Dead
down a couple of
last.
spots in the
yeah,
years.
but infant mortality and United Kingdom in the second place. Canada in the third place, Australia in fourth place, Germany in fifth place, Japan in sixth place, New Zealand.
Ooh, shit.
New Zealand,
Are
you've fallen again. You know what I mean? I'm
we
just gonna
making New
put
Zealand fight Japan now?
yeah, New Zealand's gonna fight Japan. Like small island nations are gonna have to go to war with each other. My money's on Japan, but United Arab Emirates right after New Zealand, Sweden, China, Mexico, India, Turks and Caicos Island, France, Poland, Brazil, Italy, Netherlands, Ireland. That's where I'm going to end today. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Hey, we made it out of the holidays. We all survived it. Let's get ready. I know there's probably still some like emotional hangover and some emotional baggage from the bullshit narrative that is the holidays. But please, if you are still struggling, and if you're struggling normally, even without the holidays, reach out and talk to somebody. We have big ears and we can listen, or you can talk to somebody, a professional. One way or another, I want you to stick around and show up tomorrow because all us horror fans need to stick together, and we love you and we need you here. So until we see you all next time, please start some fires and break some glass.